Good morning, everybody. It's been a long time. I'm sorry. Just have not felt the spirit moving me to do a video, but I want to catch up in the garden and then we'll talk a little bit. That's my roses coming into bloom, and I'll let you see up there. There's so many blossoms there. And then if we come down here, we have some wild daisies. The peonies, I'm sorry, I just didn't get any of them. There's a few there. Just one left over there. A couple there. This is my Zephyrin Drow rose that I took from a cutting last year. So you can see it's pretty nice looking. And then my blaze, look at that. Is that not just stunning? And there are so many blossoms on it. And then I have carrots and bok choy in here, and they're going to be ready pretty soon. And then there's some lilies also. I'll turn that back into a real planter box. Same thing over here. Some transplanted lilies and bok choy. I have my autumn joy right there, and that's from a separation. And there's another one right there. And another one right there. Last of the peony. I put in a new clematis there, and hopefully it will take off. It looks like it's getting new growth, so I think it's happy. I also separated a bunch of coneflowers, and I'm looking to see where they are. There's one right there. And that's either going to be digitalis or nicotiana, I'm not sure. That's elytris. There's another coneflower that I took from a separation. A little Happy Trails rose. These are wild, not orchids, it'll come to me, that I took from the side of the barn, and they've just taken over as a ground cover, and they get little bluish purple flowers in the spring, and one of the first things to bloom, so I'm glad I did that. That's another coneflower right there, and one right there. My lettuce is bolting, but it did well, and I love the dark red. This was one of the original coneflowers, and it's the only one that has blooms on it right now. More lilies that I transplanted. I didn't have any on this side. They were all on the front side, or the sidewalk side. And I moved a bunch of them, and they're actually doing better over here. So I've probably tripled the number of lilies from what I had. These are all mallow that is self-seeded, and I just let them. This is one color. And then there's also a lighter pink color. Let me see, I think over here I have that. More bok choy. Yes, I like it. It's fast, and it does well here. So more carrots in the ground. I need to weed. There's those are onions. Couple rows of onions. I did it kind of sequentially. These are potatoes that were left over, I guess, from last year because I didn't plant them. Let me show you here. Okay, in the center is where the tarps were most of the winter, and you can see it's nice and beautiful. So I just slid them to each side. And I have a real problem here with creeping Charlie, which is this stuff. And it is horrible, and it emits a chemical that kills other plants. So what I've found is easiest is to put the tarps down, because this whole section here was a flower bed, and now it's just been taken over by weeds. And I can only weed so much in a day, and then it just wears me out. So I am trying to reclaim this. I did plant some raspberries back there last year, and they are still going, but I got to work around the weeds now. And I planted squash in here, and they should be coming up pretty soon, as long as nothing's eating my seeds. This is a little float tray, And it has more squash in it and some, I'm not sure what else I planted in there. I was doing good with marking, and then I didn't. So this is winter wheat, and it is starting to get its heads on it. And this is from seed that came off of my wheat last year. I never did get it all thrashed, to be honest. Maybe this year I'll take what I get from this and before and find someone that has a mill. This is an almond tree, and it is a cold hardy almond, and it is thriving in this location. Over here, more coneflowers that I grew from seed and some more mallow. I moved this lavender here, and it seems to be happy. The reason I moved it is I planted it as an edging for my roses up front. And the roses get so big that it doesn't get enough sun by the end of summer. Another autumn joy. More mallows along the fence that I transplant. And they take a few weeks once you transplant them. They kind of go into shock. That is a hibiscus. In fact, if you look down that row, those are all hibiscus. And between them are crepe myrtles. And I didn't realize they took so long here to come into leaf, so we'll see how they'll do. We'll do a second tour to the barn. Strawberries are doing well. Let's see if I can show you some of them in here. I picked yesterday, but you can see there's strawberries in there. And this is the first year I've really had strawberries, and I grew this whole patch from 1 or 2 strawberries that I bought at the store, and I sliced them up and put them in dirt, and they made plants, and now I have a strawberry bed. Another hibiscus. This is starting to, the zinnias and things that I planted are just, where's that seed right there? Just starting to come up. We've had so much rain. This is another Zephyrin drow. And we'll just walk around. You can see that's just from this little section here. It takes me so long to get it, and then I gotta go, this is a pear tree. I had a second pear, but it did not make it. Apple tree really took off this year. There. Another apple tree, another Zephyrin drow. My goal was to have the roses going along the fence and kind of being a hedge behind the tree, and instead it's growing into the tree. I don't know if you can see that there. That's okay. The Zephyrin drow does not have, or Druin, or however you say it, does not have thorns, so it's kind of a fun rose. Peach tree. These trees are 3 years old, so they're doing really well. This is my plum tree, and you can tell it's looking a little raggy, but I think that's because of the stupid Japanese beetles. They just love this tree, and every year it comes back strong, and then they come and they take it out. And I also see I got a prune down there, a lot of suckers. So another plum tree. It looks a little bit better, but it doesn't have as many suckers, so maybe the problem is the suckers. And then I have 2 cherry trees here, so we'll see if I get any fruit. Probably not this year, but maybe next year. And yes, I need to weed underneath that. Again, that's where I haven't weeded, and you can see just how crazy it is. So I did an experiment with the raspberries this year. This side, the side on the right, the lower side, I did not trim in the fall. And that side that's thicker, I did. So the answer is trim them back in the fall, and you'll get a better, they're happier, obviously. At least mine are. But gardening's an experiment. These are onions that I planted last year, and they're doing very well coming back. They're biannual, so I should get some nice bulbs on them this year. Then we'll go over here. And I have lettuce in there, carrots, and some annuals. And then bulbs, and I planted over 370 bulbs this spring. My poor azalea did not like our super cold winter, but it's trying. In the back, that's all asparagus. And then I have around that telephone pole are just ditch lilies. You know, they're day lilies, but they're wild. And I created this little sitting area back there. The chairs are inside right now because we had rain last night. But you can see that my angel trumpets are doing well. I have two towers there, one with lettuce and cruciferous, and then or brassicas. And then in the other I have strawberries and lettuce. And in those longer deck planters, I have petunias started, and there's some geraniums back there. And so in a couple weeks, that should really be spectacular. Over here, I put in a new hosta bed, and around back, there are also more. This is also a newer bed. I split these from the front, and they just took off here, so they're really happy. This is my little herb barrel, and it has cilantro and oregano and some lettuce in it right now. The rosemary did not make it over the winter. I have more lavender that I moved right there, and then more bok choy and lettuce. These are poppies. There's the smaller red lettuce. Daylilies, and they're more mallow. There's also in here liatris and crocosmias and gladiolas and a whole bunch of things that haven't popped up yet. These are two more that I took from splitting, so they're taking off now. And here, some gladiolas. This is a liatris that's a year old. I put them in last year, and so you can see they're really taking off there. And I was able to put bark down, so that's going to help. And we're going to come back and look at this amazing rose and come around the other side. I walked over there, but I didn't finish. So here's more lettuce in a float tray. And I like these because once you put them in, you don't have to worry about them, and I'll show you. You can see all those roots. So they're just styrofoam float trays that the tobacco farmers used to use a lot, and since tobacco farming is really not so big in this region anymore, I was able to pick up a couple. They're kind of expensive to buy. That's an asparagus that self-seeded itself, and I'm okay with that. And there are fish in this pond, but I haven't seen them for a little bit, so I don't know. They were really big from overwintering, and now, I don't know. I might have to, I'm just going to drain it, I think, and clean it, and if there's fish in there, then they'll get moved. And so I have cabbage here. These peas are King Tuts, and look at how pretty those purple pods are, and the flowers are purple too, you can see. And it's funny because that's one branch and they're two different colored purples. And then this was a purple cauliflower that bolted, unfortunately, but I did get the other one. It was right there. That was really good. More peas. And then I have beans started on the other side of the trellis, so as soon as I pull these peas out, they'll be good to go and take off. So more lettuce. You know, it's cool season time still. And yes, more bok choy. That's another Zephyrin Druin, and even though it's in partial shade, it's really happy there. We've had heavy, heavy rain, so it has taken its toll. This is all garlic over here. And down at the base is sweet potato that I put in. So, let me back up and I'll show you right over here. So that's all garlic. And I moved this tarp from where the potatoes are over, and I'll be able to take that off pretty soon. The hotter it is, the less time the tarp needs to be down. In the winter, it's just more to keep things from growing. And then at this time of year, it's going to kill it off, so I just have to kind of rake it good. Look at here. Oh, my shadow. All the peas there. And then this is just regular green peas. So the peas just seem a little late this year, but that's okay. Okay, so my hostas and columbine. And this is probably my favorite hosta garden. Look at those guys. They just went poof. And honeysuckle on there. Some overwintered avocados and geraniums. More lettuce there. I just decided, since annuals take a while to get going, that I'd use those containers for something else first. And it's fun because I've been able to give a lot of vegetables away, and that makes me feel good. So I suppose it could be an additional income, but I'd rather give it away. And these are a coral knockout rose, and these get huge. So this is where, that's lavender. This is where those others were, and I moved them. I kept the 2 on each end because they get a little bit more sun when the sun goes over the horizon, but they're coming back right now. I chopped them way down. They were taller than me. And this is a white blaze rose over there, or iceberg, and I need to prune it. So, another columbine. And those are from seed. And here, I'm starting to get a few sunflowers from the bird feeder, but I planted zinnias, and I just don't think that the temperature of the soil is quite warm enough, because normally they pop really fast, and they are not popping as fast as they normally do. Either that or my seed wasn't very good. But I've been doing it the same every year for a long time, so I think it's really been kind of chilly. Oh. So hopefully that's the front. I'll do the barn and the backyard at another time. Hope you enjoyed this. I'll splice them together, and hopefully you enjoy it. Okay, this is my back deck. And it's just a place for me to relax in the morning, and my dogs, and sit and read the Bible. Some shade annuals there. I put this bed in last year, and so it's just really starting to kind of take off. This is a redo this year because my gutters were pouring over and just eroding everything. So I had the guy that put the gutters in come out and clean them, and then I put a little ditch right there with a pipe so that the water was draining out to the woods. And then this area under the tree, I've just planted a bunch of hostas, and it has liathrum, I believe it is. And so we'll see. It gets morning sun, but otherwise, because it's under a tree, it gets shade most of the day. And I'm hoping these hostas here do like along the front where they just take over. Sadie, honey, they've been there for a while. And then we'll come over here and take a look. I moved the lettuce tower, and so it's a little mad at me because when I took it apart, I kind of squashed it. It's much easier to move those when the plant's little. Sadie. So in the grow bags, I have carrots and potatoes and sweet potatoes. And I've done some trees in pots just to kind of add height. This is my, you can see lots of little strawberries on there. And I just planted this a few weeks ago, so it's just coming around. That's Nicotiana in bloom, and I really love this plant. It smells beautiful in the evening. Grows big, easy to grow from seed. Some annuals. The one rosemary I have that made it. And you can just see that tower. There's 42 spots there, so it's a lot of food. And I've given quite a bit away. More bok choy. That's sweet potato from slips. Oh, that was something else I was going to show you. Okay. So I use these clear plastic tubs. Usually they have a clear top to this one I just bought, and it didn't. But those are cuttings from hydrangeas and roses and autumn joy, and I'm just going to see. So far, I did those yesterday, and they all look really happy. So it's like a little mini greenhouse. It keeps the moisture good, and they really need that to root. And then here's another one. This is how I do my sweet potatoes. So you can see that sweet potato right there, that sweet potato, but I have some roses in here too, and some hydrangeas. So we'll just see. So far everything again is thriving. I'll need to water this one. So just to let you know that that's a way you can do rose cuttings. You want semi-hardwood, and take the thorns off and down to one set of leaves and trim those back, and then stick them in the dirt with some root tone and keep them moist, and they should. I've had semi-good luck with it, not really great luck, but some people do really well with it. I'm hoping someday I get the art down. And just my house plants now outside. So I was going to also show you the two different colors. So you have that color pink, and then you have that. And again, these were self-seeded. I didn't plant these here. They planted themselves here, but I'm okay with it. I like volunteer plants. Those are more daylilies. And if you listen, those are the cicadas. They are out in force. And just a warning to people who have never been around them before, the copperheads really like them. So you may want to just be on extra guard for copperheads on trees and in low-lying brush. They're easy pickings for them. More squash going here, and Brussels sprouts, and shallots, and onions, and coneflower. Those are candy stripe, I think. I have coleus over here, and some hollyhocks, peppers. I think 2 or 3 trays of peppers, because I went to the college sale and I had a whole bunch picked out, and then I forgot them. I took my flowers and I went and paid and forgot the peppers, so that's okay. Those things happen. Begonias, and this peach begonia smells really good. It has kind of a citrusy smell. Some pineapples. So anyways, that's the garden right now in May. Magnolia, it was doing really good, blooming even 2-3 times a year, but it had a rough winter. It was really cold here. But you can see it's got new growth. It's got a bloom. So it's a hardy little thing. This is a little spill garden I'm doing, and it was full of ants when I moved it, so I haven't been able to set it up quite right, but I did put seed down and one geranium I had, and we'll see how it does. This spot is so hard because it's between the pool and the tie downs, and it's hard to mow in here and hard to keep it looking nice, so I'm trying to convert it to garden. Now you're going to notice heavy equipment here, and that's because I have a slipping hill. I don't know if you can see back there, and it really was sliding bad from all the rain we had this winter. So we're putting better drainage in along the barn, which should have been there in the first place, but it wasn't. And cutting that hillside back drastically so that that isn't an issue. This is my compost pile, and it's in a couple different stages. This side obviously is the fresher, and I'll bring the tractor out and tidy that up, but as I bring stuff and I clean the stalls, I just dump it there. That's the better, and that is kind of a mix. It's got a fair amount of clay in it because it's sitting on clay, and when I slide to push it up with the tractor, I sometimes scoop up some clay too. Not on purpose, but it happens. So anyways, I have a little bit more garden out here, and so I'm going to show you. This rose is just spectacular. It's Cecil Bruner, or Cecilia Bruner. And this is planted in gravel. I never thought it would take off like this. What I really need to do is find somebody who can build me a really nice trellis that goes up and over. I think that that would go all the way over the barn if it had something to climb on. But look at how many flowers on there, and it's still getting, look at that. I mean, there's still more buds. It's just fantastic. So I love this rose. It makes me happy every time I come out here. And then over here, I love how the wild daisies look with the, these are red knockouts. And then I have the evergreen arbor vitae that in the kind of chartreuse color because I wanted to brighten it up, and especially in winter needed some color back in here. And there's peonies that I might have. This one, well, this one's got buds, so they're trying. These other two, I don't know, I might have them in too deep. Then those are rose campions in the front, and again, lots of seeds down, so they just need a chance to take off. And so we're going to have quite a bit of noise going on here. I had a kitty move in the barn, and she had 5 babies. And I started feeding her, and it was all going well. And then I guess she decided that I was too attentive, and she moved the babies. And I don't know where she moved them to. She's still coming and eating. But I haven't seen the babies. Someday, I was thinking about last night, this hillside, because it's really hard for me to mow, I'd like to make into a garden. I might put the tarps on this over winter and turn that into a terrace garden. It would be pretty. I try and add a bed or area every year. I've been here. This is my 4th year. So, it just takes time. And I'm one person. There was no fence. There was not one plant or garden here. So the horses are out in the pasture. This grass is so lush and so full of sugar that I put them out in the morning for a few hours, and at lunchtime they want to come in because the biting flies are bad. And there's really nothing that works well for them. I mean, they have fly masks on, and I spray them, and I've tried just about every spray known to man. I've used flies for sheets. And I'll show you some happy. So, I'll show you my annuals. A lot of oranges this year. I don't really go with a plan. I just plant and see what I like. And I do. Orange is one of my favorite colors, and I like how red pops. Nature seems to provide a lot of yellow, so I don't worry about it so much. And white is really nice in the evening time. So anyways, they come in at noon, and they go inside in the arena during the daytime, and then I put them out again for a couple more hours at night. And that's kind of, their dry lot is undercover where the flies don't like it. And so that's it. I hope you enjoyed. I put my chairs out because I'm going to do my Bible reading here pretty soon, and I like to get as much sun as I can. There's really a lot of health benefits to sun, but I thought you might want to see it better. These towers turn, and there are probably 6 or 7 varieties of lettuce in there. And then right now my angel trumpet, the one bloom that had is gone, but it's making new blooms. And I had it inside, and almost immediately when I put my plants in this year, I had aphids, and I struggled with them all year. I'm going to show you how this turns. Oh, maybe I won't. Let me see. I don't have anywhere to set this down. And I turned it off. Okay, so anyways, that's my lettuce tower. They're pretty much at full maturity and are going to want to bolt here pretty soon, but that's okay. I got a lot of lettuce out of it, and I've been picking every day, and it still has a lot. So that's my new little room. I'm thinking of putting a mural on that garage door. I don't really use that as a garage. It's, as you can see, it's kind of a funny little way to get in and out of there. So someday maybe I'll put French doors in there and make that a studio or a gym. And that loudmouth is Sadie right there. She doesn't like the trucks out there for the workers. And then this is Roscoe. Roscoe, yeah, say hi, sit. Roscoe, sit. Good boy. And Sadie. If you move a box, Sadie will bark. She will let you know that something is amiss. Okay.